Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today to paint this beautiful flower. There's a story behind it for sure, but first let's get started on the paints that I used. So if you'd like to paint along, or if you just want to watch, either way, it's up to you. First of all, I'm using cobalt blue to kind of paint in the vivid blue skies. My grandma used to always say, after a rainy day, if there was enough blue in the sky to make a sailor's uniform, then it was going to be a beautiful day. And she was always right. Today was a beautiful day. So where the sky was clearing up, I added a little bit more cobalt blue. And then I'm going to use, for the fields furthest back, I'll use Perylene green. And in the foreground, I'll use sap green. And in the midground, I'll use a little bit of Hooker's green mixed with sap green. I'll also use some masking fluid to white out some areas where these ditch lilies will be. I had no idea they were called ditch lilies. I've lived in this state for 30 years, and I've always just called them beautiful day lilies. The name is fitting though. You can see they're usually on the side of the road in a ditch. My daughter and I took the day to drive all around the county looking for the perfect scene where these can be found. And boy, did we find it. It was picturesque for sure. The beautiful puffy clouds in the background, the vivid green of the midground, and the bright orange of the daylilies, or ditch lilies, as I learned. As I add more trees and shadow underneath them in the background, I'm reminded of days when the children and I would go and dig up daylily or ditch lily on the side of the road and plant them in our own yard. Gardeners today, or master gardeners, will tell you that it's an invasive species in my state, but I think they're beautiful. They do have a tendency to take over native plants, but if you control the environment in which they grow, I think they're stunning. Because you drive by and all of a sudden there's this burst of magnificent orange, and there's showy blossoms just out of nowhere. It's such a pleasure to see, and this was an absolute treat and a special find. So I'll paint this just for my daughter as a little memory of that special day. I'm adding the fence that was on the side of the road. It is a barbed wire fence. I imagine there's cattle in there, and maybe a pasture that rotates out for livestock. I'll add the wire in a minute, but I'm going to just flick in a little bit of variety of colors from the grasses that I saw. There were brown weeds and tall green grasses. There's such a variety of color in there. So choose whatever's on your palette and just have fun. I'm using my liner brush. I used Paynes gray for the post of the fence. When I paint the wire of the fence, I'll use a little bit of Paynes gray and burnt sienna to indicate rust on the wire. You can kind of see it in the picture, in the video, and I wanted to indicate that a little bit in the painting. So now I'm bringing up the masking fluid, which will give us the white paper underneath and allow that orange paint to really, really shine. Because we want these ditch lilies to be as vivid as they are on the paper as they were on the side of the road. I used Azo Yellow by Rembrandt for the center of that largest ditch lily because it tends to dry very bright, which is perfect for the center of this lily. I did borrow one flower from the side of the road so I can get a better indication of how the petals folded and how the shadows and the highlights hit it, so I can do a better job painting. So here it is though. A few hours later, after I picked the flower, it started to close. Now, it's also nighttime when I took this picture, so I did a little research. Ditch lilies close at night because each bloom only lives for a single day. It's a natural process where they shut down and they want to protect the pollen inside and save their energy, and the dew will damage the pollen. So they close their petals, save their energy, and go to sleep, a process that's triggered by the dropping light and temperatures until the morning. So the technical term for all of the botanists out there, it's photonasty. If it's triggered by light, the buds will close, or thermonesty if it's triggered by temperatures. And overall, those movements are called anthesis. So there you go. You've learned something new. This bud closed in my vase because of the change in light. However, if it were still outside with its plant that we pulled it from, it would probably wither away and a new one would have appeared in its place. But as it stands, it is opened up for the day, and then tonight it will probably close again because it has sufficient water. I added a couple silos in the back because I wanted to indicate that this truly was a farm, somebody's farm. It was a very rural area, and that's probably why we still see these ditch lilies on the side of the road. And there's the barbed wire fence, and I'll put the little barbs just faintly, just to indicate that they're there. It's not exact. I just made little X's with my liner brush. I'm going to add a few stamen to that front-facing daylily and the top to the silos in the back, and then we're finished. I hope this painting has inspired you to go outside, maybe take a walk, or just look along the side of the road as you're driving for the beauty that's already there, waiting for you. And until next time, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.